don't usually record my thoughts at the end of a workday. Most days around here don't call for it. Traffic stops, livestock in the road, family arguments, somebody mad about a barking dog. Kind of thing tends to lose historical weight by supper. Today, well, today's different. The ship appeared this morning. Calling it the ship already feels too casual, like I'm talking about something tied up at a dock. This thing's in orbit. It's big enough to make every picture of it look fake. Smooth, bright, shaped exactly like every flying saucer joke movie ever made by mankind. I first saw it on the morning news while I was getting dressed for work. Coffee was brewing. My duty belt was still hanging over the kitchen chair. Some cheerful reporter out of New York was interviewing a NASA representative, and he had that calm government voice people use when the facts are terrifying and the public needs breakfast first. He said there was no sign of threat. That phrase came up several times. No sign of a threat. Now, maybe that's true. Maybe every instrument they've got is pointed at that thing and all the readings look harmless. Still, I've spent too many years wearing a badge and a gun to relax just because somebody official says the room is under control. I've walked into plenty of quiet houses that turned ugly real fast. The government telling people to stay calm tells me one thing for certain. They want people calm. Fair enough. Panic never helped anybody think straight. So I went to work. Same uniform, same roads, same dry heat, blowing dust across the town. Only now there was something above us that didn't belong to us. And yeah, I'm interested. No, that's not right. I'm excited, even. I'm watching the sky. Humanity finally knows we're not alone in the universe. Now, whether that turns out to be a good thing or a bad thing, well, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. Since the ship arrived. 3 days since every phone in town lit up. Every television started showing the same impossible shape in orbit, and everybody walked around looking like they'd just remembered the sky existed. And somehow, people are already getting used to it. That may be the most human thing I've ever seen. Give folks an alien spacecraft above Earth, and a couple days later, they're back to complaining about gas prices. Social media has rotted people's brains down to nothing. First day, everybody was terrified, or maybe they were inspired. Next day, there's a big argument. Is it real? Is it a hoax? Maybe it's a government conspiracy. Today, somebody posted that it was probably a marketing stunt for a movie, and half the comments were about whether aliens would understand Bitcoin. So, that's where we are as a species. Oh, Tina called this afternoon. First time I've heard her voice in a while. She asked if I was okay, which was kind of her. Then she asked if things were weird at the department, which was a little bit less subtle. After that came a few questions about if we'd had any special briefings or whether the feds had come to speak with us, whether I'd spoken to anyone in Austin or maybe Washington. I told her the truth. The Marienfeld Police Department has received exactly nothing in terms of secret alien briefings. We have received calls about traffic control around the high school football field, a reminder to finish online training by Friday, and one complaint about, I shit you not, a goat standing on somebody's car. The idea that I'd have some sort of secret inside information about a spacecraft above us, now that's just funny. I'm a shift supervisor in a town where the city council still argues over printer toner. I'm not making that up. Printer toner. If NASA ever calls me directly, something has gone horribly sideways. Still, I understand why, she asked. Everybody wants a door into the truth. Maybe they've got a friend in the military or a cousin who's working at a hospital or even a cop they used to be married to. I told her I was fine. She said she was fine too. Then, like always, you know, we ran out of things to talk about. Anyways, the ship is still up there, doing nothing. Down here, we're all doing what we normally do. Here's how my day started. I'm out there on I-20 just west of town, clearing a two-vehicle accident. Nothing big. Two cars clipped each other. Everybody got real scared. Nobody got dead. And then I hear people have started disappearing. Mind you, that ship has been in orbit for 4 days. And now people start disappearing. I was talking to one of the drivers when dispatch called over the radio and asked if I could phone in. She was a little nervous. I could tell that on the radio, so I gave her a call. She said the Zachary County Justice Center just had 2 inmates declared missing from secured cells. These doors were locked, the cameras were rolling. Didn't see anything. There 1 second, the next, gone. I know that building. That's where I started my career. I used to be a jailer there, counting heads and listening to men yell at me through steel bars. People don't walk out of those cells, and they sure as heck don't just disappear. Then the second call came in. It was a parole officer out of Midland trying to locate a man living outside of Marienfeld. He has a bad, violent felony history. Family said he was in the kitchen 1 second, and then he was gone. By lunch, national news was full of it. Missing people in prisons, missing people from homes, missing people from courtrooms, hospitals, traffic stops, halfway houses, pretty much everywhere. Nobody had numbers, how many were gone, but everybody had video, and everybody had their own dumbass theory. The federal statement called it, you'll love this, an unexplained mass absence event. Don't that sound like something a committee writes when plain English would make more sense? Now that I think about it, saying people are disappearing all over the world, that might make people lose some of that calm the government had been working so hard to protect. Around here, we checked what we could, looked at the jail logs, checked out the probation contacts, went to known addresses, a couple welfare calls. By the end of the shift, the pattern looked pretty obvious. All the missing people had violent convictions. Not nice people. I'm saying that real carefully because I don't have the whole picture. I have one town, one county, a radio, a phone, and 25 years of learning how bad information spreads faster than, well, rabbits. Still, I know deep down this is only the first page. I feel like things are going to get worse before they get better, if they do get better. In fact, I bet quite a lot that things are about to get a lot worse. After the shift, a few of us had a conversation in the back lot. Nothing special. Real hush-hush, you might say. It was me, Pruitt, Alvarez, and Dempsey, and two deputies from the county sheriff's office. We all made an agreement. On duty, we do the job. Off duty, we're going to check on each other's houses and families. If the phones go down, we'll use radios. If one of us needs help, the others show up. None of this cowboy BS, no running around playing into the world militia. Just mutual aid, water, fuel, medicine, batteries and first aid kits, that kind of thing. I topped off my truck, filled up 2 gas cans, bought some extra bottled water because I hope I'm not paranoid, but I might be. Checked my flashlights, charged the radio, laid out my hiking pack, and, oh yeah, cleaned my sidearm. I also called Tina. She didn't answer. I left a message telling her to keep her tank full, charge her phone, all of the basic precautions. That's all I had for her. That's all anybody has right now. That ship is still up there, still silent. Yesterday, it felt mysterious, and now it feels like a threat. Well, the sun came up, and people are still disappearing. We had a briefing at the station at 0600. Chief Morgan, Sergeant Pruitt, Alvarez, Dempsey, me, 2 county deputies, and a DPS trooper out of Midland. Oh, we had Zachary County Emergency Management on the speakerphone. We all met in the municipal courtroom because the squad room was too small for that many people. The chief told us that state operations are active. Counties are to report confirmed disappearances through the emergency management channel and through law enforcement information systems. Every scene gets treated as an active investigation until told otherwise. Names, criminal history, last known location, all that stuff if known. All of it got logged. We were told to preserve scenes, do welfare checks in pairs. There was to be no public speculation by uniformed personnel. The trooper said the state was seeing a pattern. Yesterday's confirmed cases leaned hard toward people with violent convictions, like I suspected. Overnight, however, that pattern widened. Convicted persons generally, felonies, misdemeanors, old convictions, recent convictions, it didn't matter. Custody status didn't matter either. Prisoners, parolees, probationers, people who had served their time, and people who had been living quietly for years. County jail had more empty cells. Doors locked, cameras working, nothing in the hallway, no alarms. There's a video of one inmate. He's laying on his bunk, and then he's gone. Like somebody turned the camera off. He got up and left, and they turned the camera back on. But the time step kept running. I asked State if they had an explanation, and the trooper looked at me like I was an idiot before saying, "The official position was that no cause had been determined." Then he said federal agencies were coordinating through state channels, and the FBI had requested records on missing persons. Homeland Security had put their hat in the ring and issued a public order advisory. Hospitals and prisons are all being told to maintain staffing and keep backup rosters. Oh, and NASA was still reporting that nothing new had occurred with the object. The object, that's what they're calling it. I know what it is. That ship appeared above Earth, sat there for 4 days. Then human beings started vanishing. Not just vanishing, vanishing by category. That's enough for me. I don't need a press conference to connect 2 and 2. It's 4. The ship is responsible. Now, I ain't saying I know how. I don't know whether the people aboard it are doing this thing, or even if there are people aboard it, but I know it's them. What I can't understand is why the criminals. If they wanted to frighten us, they could take anybody. Heck, they could take entire cities. Take the president. That looks more like judgment to me. That word keeps sticking in my mind, and I don't care for it, because judgment means they have some sort of standard. It implies they are selecting. It means whoever or whatever is doing this thinks they have the right to sort human beings. The mood is already changing in the public. I heard it on calls today. People asking whether certain men were gone. asking about neighbors with records. One woman wanted to know if her ex-husband had disappeared. She sounded pretty upset when I told her I was able to make contact with him. Now, we were told to watch out for reprisals, false reports, and vigilante behavior. Because people are people, and some of them might use this disappearance thing as a cover to settle grudges. But the law still exists, and I'm still here to enforce it. At least, I want to believe that. I missed yesterday's entry. There just wasn't any time. That's the whole explanation. We ran calls from before sunrise until after dark. Welfare checks, missing people, drunk and disorderly. Family members screaming at us because we couldn't give them answers that we don't have. Yesterday was the day it moved into the mentally ill, the disappearances, that is. Well, that's how people are saying it. The bulletin we received from the state was a little bit more specific. They all involve people suffering from severe delusional states, those who can't distinguish reality from what their minds are telling them. I had a woman call about her brother because he takes medication for depression. He was still home, terrified, rightfully so, but home. We had another call north of town, a man who had been living in a shed behind his sister's house. Severe paranoia. Hadn't taken his medication in months. According to the family, his sister said he was yelling at someone who wasn't there, and then he stopped mid-sentence because he was gone. No flash, no smoke, just like the others. Gone. Today, it looks like the pattern has changed once again. This time it's drug addiction. The regional briefing came through. Morgan read it while everyone just stood there. State and federal agencies are asking departments to log disappearances involving active narcotic dependence. Hospitals, EMS, jail staff, all been told to document cases involving physical addiction where that information is already known. We're not supposed to write addict because a neighbor says so. We're not supposed to treat recovery as active dependency. We're not supposed to release names, obviously. And we're certainly not supposed to speculate in public. Those are good orders. Hard orders, but good. By noon, it was already impossible to keep clean. People know people in a small town. They know who's down in pills. They know who went down to Mexico and came back different. They know the people in the oil field that got messed up, got on drugs, and never got off them. We had 3 confirmed local cases today. One man who was a frequent flyer with EMS, gone from a bedroom while his mother was making him soup. Got a woman from the passenger seat of a pickup at the county line. Her boyfriend drove 3 miles before he realized she was missing. One man from a bathroom at the motel on the interstate. Faucet was still running when we got there. I've been wearing a badge most of my life. I've seen people die. I've seen them die badly. I've watched people destroy themselves slowly with drugs. I've seen families burn down from the inside because of dope. This is different. This feels like someone reading a list. There's a church on the south side of town, the New Covenant Fire Chapel. Pastor Bell there has been telling people that this is God's wrath for all of our sins. One of his deacons was handing out flyers near the grocery store. Big red letters. Repent! Judgment is here. The end is nigh. The culling has begun. That word is spreading now. They're calling it the culling. I don't know who said it first. It does fit well, and it still bothers me. We got called to the church around 3 in the afternoon because a crowd had gathered outside. Some of them were praying. Most of them were shouting. All of them wanted Pastor Bell to tell them who was next. Well, not all of them. A couple of them wanted him to shut his mouth. Nobody fought, thank goodness. But it was close enough that I stayed there until we got another unit from county. I listened to him for a few minutes. He said the ship was a sign that all the sinners were being removed. He said the rest of us still had time. I want to believe he's just scared. Maybe he is. I am considering going to church, and that surprises me a bit. Not to his church, of course. I'm not going to sit there listening to some raving lunatic tell me about what's going on. Maybe someplace quiet, someplace that has peace. Most Sundays I'm either working or sleeping or hiking somewhere where no one can ask me to join a committee. But tonight feels different. Tonight feels like maybe I need to get closer to God. Sure, we have radios, rifles, and bulletproof vests. We even got generators, first aid kits. I've even got a mutual aid plan. None of that reaches orbit, though. None of that means a damn to whoever's doing this. I'm still working. Tomorrow I'm going to put that uniform on, answer the radio. I will check the nursing home, the school, the motel, the gas station, the people who live alone. But I'm starting to think this is past human hands. If there is going to be intervention, I mean real intervention, I'm guessing it's going to need to come from someplace higher than that ship. Anyway, the sky's clear tonight, and I can see the stars. You know, I really used to like that. I didn't record yesterday. Same reason as before. Too many calls. Too much stuff to do. Too many people looking at me like a uniform means I can explain the sky. Yesterday was the frail and elderly. That's the closest wording I can use. It wasn't age alone. We had old people still alive, looked strong enough to split firewood. And we had younger people vanish who had been worn down by disease or injury or even years of hard living. The nursing home was the worst of it. I walked those halls twice yesterday. Empty beds, wheelchairs sitting beside windows, television still playing old westerns, but nobody watching. Then there was the staff, moving around like ghosts, trying to figure out what was going on and how to care for the people who remained. One woman kept asking me where her roommate went. I couldn't answer her. Fact of the matter is, nobody answered her. This morning's briefing, Chief Morgan had dark circles under his eyes. I think we all did. Bulletin from state emergency was the departments were to document disappearances involving known hereditary diseases, congenital disease, or other suspected genetic conditions. I'm a small town cop. I don't know nothing about that stuff. We were told to avoid public statements, which we were already doing. We were supposed to avoid medical speculation. That was something none of us had any interest in, and to protect health information as much as possible. As much as possible. That phrase is doing a lot of heavy lifting nowadays. Locally, we don't have the ability to verify genetics. I don't even know if you can do that on a state level. Sure, we know what families tell us. We know what doctors can legally tell us. And then we know that people post online all throughout the years without thinking one day it might become part of a death pattern. Well, a disappearance pattern. By noon, the calls had started. A man with Huntington's in his family, gone from a recliner. His wife was in the next room. A teenage girl with a known inherited disorder. She went missing from a hospital bed in Midland Memorial Hospital. A baby in Odessa. Maybe. That's unconfirmed. I'm writing that one down because I heard it. I also don't know if it's true. There's so much information now. The truth has to fight for air. The official numbers are useless. And by the time we've got them, more people are gone. National news is behind radio traffic, and radio traffic is behind the families. and the families have no clue what's going on. This is selection. I think they're preparing for an invasion. I don't know when, and I don't know what that would look like. I don't know if I'm right, but I can't shake that thought. They're removing people in categories and they're leaving the structure alone. The roads are still open, the power's still on. Nobody from the power plant disappeared. Nobody from the water treatment plant disappeared. We still got water. Hospitals are still fully staffed. We're still here, answering calls. The firefighters are still responding. Truckers are still moving things all across the nation. I still see airplanes in the sky. Soldiers are still here too. And that last part confuses me a bit. Why have the soldiers not all been disappeared? If I were clearing a planet for occupation, soldiers would be mighty high on my list of people to disappear. Unless the aliens aren't afraid of them. Or unless they want them here. Maybe the soldiers are being spared for the same reason police and doctors and drivers seem to be spared. Somebody has to keep the lights on. Somebody has to guard fuel, food, dams, airfields, hospitals, and all the other rigmarole that keeps society rolling. Maybe they're leaving us enough authority to manage our own reduction. There's a thought. We are still working, and that is one of the stranger parts. Never expected the end of the world to have paperwork. The ship's still up there, doing nothing except making people disappear. Hasn't fired a weapon, hasn't broadcast a list of demands, at least, not that they've told us about. It just keeps sorting and choosing, and we keep helping each other fill out the forms. Kinda tried to kill the ship, and that was the first thing I heard this morning. I'm in the locker room getting ready. Chief called everybody into the conference room, and we are watching the same footage play over and over again. Multiple nuclear missiles launched toward the object. That's what the broadcast said. The state bulletin said the same thing in cleaner language. It called it an attempted strategic strike by the People's Republic of China against the extraterrestrial object. Federal agencies were waiting for an escalation, but there was nothing because the missiles never hit. They disappeared within about a half kilometer of the ship. No explosion, no debris field, no radiation even. Now here's the thing: the ship didn't even move its position, didn't fire, didn't maneuver, didn't do anything. The missiles just disappeared, like the people here. If someone fires nuclear weapons at you and you don't respond, I reckon there are only a few possibilities. One would be that you can't respond. Two would be that you choose not to respond. Or three, that attack meant so little to you that you'd even feel it rose to the level of an insult. I don't think it was either the first or the second. Oh, and the disappearances changed again today. I don't have a clean category anymore. Nobody does. You have people with no record, people with no illnesses, people with jobs, families, mortgages. Just gone. A waitress from the diner, a retired teacher who is still in really good health. My mechanic's wife, yeah, and a college kid who just got home from Colorado. They're gone. Essential workers still seem to be spared, at least locally. Police, fire, EMS, fuel drivers, utility workers. That seems to be the only pattern that holds. The town feels hollow. Traffic is almost gone, except for people, you know, trying to get out of town or occasionally loaded down pickup trucks trying to escape the inevitable down I-20. Looting has become frequent. We caught two men from Odessa loading a television and power tools from a house on Pecan Street. I put them on the ground at gunpoint. We don't have enough officers to guard every empty house. We don't have enough deputies to sit on rural property. We don't have enough hours in the day to answer every call from someone who sees these things happening. So we're going to triage morality now. We'll decide which calls to answer and which calls we won't. Our little mutual aid group got together again. There wasn't much to say, actually. Just 5 exhausted people standing around while the sun went down. On the way home, I drove past 3 dark houses. There should have been porch lights on. I know the people who live there. Well, I guess I should say, I knew the people who lived there. I didn't stop. I knew they wouldn't be there. That damn ship, still silent. China fired nuclear weapons at it today, and nothing changed. Every nuclear armed country on the face of the earth hit that ship today. Every nuclear country on earth. We're talking the United States, China, Russia, the UK, France, India, Pakistan, North Korea, even Israel. It was a coordinated strike, a coordinated launch, a globally coordinated launch. For one morning, humanity, all of humanity, agreed on one thing. They fired everything they could at that object in orbit. But this time, the ship couldn't make all of it disappear. Some missiles did vanish like before. Some of them got really close before they vanished. But I'm guessing there were too many for whatever defensive system that thing has. The ship was damaged. I saw the footage 3 times before I had to look away. Part of the outer rim had gone completely dark. One side looked scorched and maybe a little bit melted, peeled open. There are pieces and parts moving away from it. It was bright for a while. The central dome, if that is what it is, still looked intact, and the object, it didn't break apart, didn't fall out of orbit, and most surprisingly, it did not retaliate. I was expecting some form of anger from the thing, but nothing. Well, I mean, the disappearances kept going on. I thought after I saw that footage that maybe we'd struck a blow and we'd stopped the people from being taken. I think for a few moments everybody thought that. But then again, the calls started rolling in. People disappearing from hospitals. Had one from a rest stop east of town. Oh, and had one from the church basement where people were praying. I guess you could say the random phase is now in full effect. Federal estimate says the global disappearance rate is following a, hold on now, I wrote this down, a linear original population pattern. They say that day one, approximately 0.1% of the original global population just vanished. Still no details on how that happened. Every other day has been increased roughly 1.08 percentage points. Today's daily rate is estimated at 8.74% of the original global population. Through the end of the day, we're looking at a total population loss across the globe of 39.7%. They're estimating that by the end of the day, we're going to have just under 5 billion people on this earth. Mind you, I think we started out with something like 8.5 billion. So, in a few days, we're looking at being down to around 1.2 billion people left. And then after that, under 75 million. Nothing seems to stop it. We were told to prepare for continued population decline, public disorder, commerce collapse, fuel shortages, food scarcity, communications disruptions, and lots of opportunistic violence.